Okay, on the handout, problems number 20 and 21 are tied together. During the class, what I suggested to you is when you're doing a valuation problem, an income approach problem, and when you are doing a return on investment problem, they're really not that far apart. They're just one additional step. So I'm going to start on number 21. It will carry us over, I'm going to start on number 20. It'll carry us over into number 21 as well. But remember, my suggestion on this is that you follow your flow chart. Make sure that you just start at your income formula and just work down from that. So that's what we're going to be doing. Investors research an apartment complex and makes the following observations. The apartment complex has 20 units that rent for $800 per month. Okay. Well, here's the deal. Your cash flow formula, I recommend that you start at the top with your gross potential income. Your potential income is simply going to be anything that you could possibly collect. So if there are 20 units that rent for $800 per month, and using the cash flow formula, we always annualize this. So 20 times 800 times 12, because there's 12 months in the year, is going to give me a total of how much potential income? $192,000. $192,000 potential income. Did I miss anything, or do we have everything we need there? So far, so good? Okay. Expenses for the year are anticipated to be $53,760, and vacant rates in the area average 4%. Now look at the dirty trick I did to you there. When you're talking about gross potential, really the first thing that you need is the vacancy rate or credit loss. In other words, what is uncollectible? You never collect everything, right? So from the potential, we're going to subtract vacancy and credit loss. In this case, we give you that number as being 4%. So subtract vacancy. Okay, it was described as 4%. Can somebody tell me what 4% of 192 is?
7680.
7680 minus 7680. 7680 is just simply 4% of 192. You feel okay about that? Clearly not collectible, so we're subtracting it from the total, and that comes out to be 184,320?
Yes.
184,320. What's the name of 184,320?
Gross effective.
Gross effective income. Gross effective income. I often describe gross effective income as being the money that you actually touch. This is the money you actually had in your hands. Okay? Well, that's great, but we haven't spent any money yet, right? So we have our gross effective. So now what do we subtract from our gross effective? Expenses. How are expenses described in this? Expenses for the year are anticipated to be $53,760. So I'm going to subtract expenses minus $53,760. Did I miss anything, or are those all the expenses? Okay. So what does that number come out to be? 130.
560.
130,560. Does that number look right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's an important number, isn't it? Because what that number tells us is our net operating income.
Mm-hmm.
Our net operating income. In other words, gross minus expenses equals net. Now, I was a little bit lazy and I didn't read to see where we were going. Let me go all the way to the end of this question for just a second to determine what we were looking for. What I'm actually looking for is the investor's cash throw-off. If I were in chapter 17, if I were doing a valuation problem, I would actually be finished. As a matter of fact, if you look at your problem, if you're wondering where I got the sale price of $1,450,700, if you want to know where I got that number, I simply divided that number by the 9% cap rate that was given to you in the problem. Do you see that? Now, that wasn't necessary for this problem. Sometimes that's one of our tricks on math, is we just give you too much information. What is important is Now that I have the net operating income, what do I subtract from net operating income to leave me with my before tax cash flow?
Debt service.
So we minus our debt service. Let's see how I describe the debt service here. The debt service is $8,998 per what? Per month. So we're going to subtract out debt service. Debt service, by the way, is P&I. $89.98 times 12. Need some help? 107 976. Okay? And then you take the net operating income, subtract out the debt service, and you will see that that number is 22 what?
584.
584?
Yeah.
22,584. And what is the name of that number?
The before tax cash flow.
Before tax cash flow. Be careful right here. The tax that we're talking about is your income tax. In other words, this is the before your income. This is income right here, right? Before tax cash flow. The reason I bring that up is sometimes students get confused. Your real property taxes were dealt with up here in expenses. Your real property taxes of the building would have been an expense. This is before your income taxes. 22,584. Is that one of the potential answers? Okay. So far, so good. You got that one. And you know what? If you remember that cash flow formula, that wasn't even hard, was it? The temptation on the test is we're going to play with your minds when it comes to debt service. Do you subtract debt service above or below net operating income? Please study that as you're looking at it. Debt service you subtract below net operating income to get before tax cash flow. Okay? Questions or comments so far? Now listen, without even a segue, I want to show you how this problem relates to problem number 21. Just keep it rolling, Amanda, on that since they go together. Notice what problem number 21 says. Using the scenario above, what would be the investor's cash-on-cash return? So just relax your mind for just a moment and see if you can see what they're asking here, what the question is literally asking you for here. You recognize that after paying all his bills, including his mortgage, this investor walked away with $22,584 in his pocket. Do you recognize that that's what that's saying? Okay? What investment did he make to get him this $22,584, and is it a good investment? Amanda, if you don't mind, follow me because I'm going to have to move to that side of the board, so just make sure that this comes over here. Okay? I'm going to create a T-bar here. And it's basically going to be the relationship between your before tax cash flow and your down payment. Your original investment, your down payment, is obviously going to give you the percentage. Now, who asked to see this problem? Jim. Okay. Do you understand the before tax cash flow? We're good. We just plugged that in. So what we're trying to find out, Jen, is how that relates to, I mean, think about it. Anytime you make an investment, anytime you put cash into an investment, you want to know what your return on investment is, right? Now, how do we know how much this person put down?
20%.
Yeah. Tell me why, Suraj.
Because 80% is loan LTV.
Yeah, I kind of buried it in the problem, didn't I? I said that he received an 80% loan-to-value loan with a payment of $89.98, but I gave you the sale price of $1 million, whatever it was, $1,450,000 and change.
700.
Okay, so what you need to do is take 20% of that number. If your down payment, if your loan amount was 80%, your down payment would have been 20%. Are you with me, Jim? Okay, so that's where I got the number down here. How much is the actual down payment?
$291.40.
$291.40 or $400?
$290.
$290.
$290.
$140.
$140. And stay with me for a minute on this, Dennis. The way we got that down payment was, it was $1,450,700
Yes.
times 20%. That's where that number came from. Okay? And then $22,584 divided by your original equity, your original down payment of $291.40 is going to be what percent? 7 point something, I remember. 7.78?
Yep.
Okay. 7.78%. Your calculator probably said something like 0.07s forever, if I'm remembering correctly. Okay, that's a tough problem, wasn't it? Okay, let's leave that